And coming to the intervals, while using the intervals we can make an event occur with a given time interval. If I am giving a 1 second, the event is going to occur after 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. And if I am using that set timeout or timeouts, it is going to occur only one time and in the given time function. Means if you are mentioning the 2 seconds and you are mentioning the timeout, after 2 seconds it is going to execute that function. Well, here we have the intervals and timeout objects. First of all, to use the set intervals, you have to use a variable with a variable name, and you have to use a set interval. The set interval, you must have a function name and you have the seconds. Well, every programming language, whether it is an embedded one or a normal high level programming, it is going to take your timings in a format of millisecond. Yes, if I am mentioning 1000 in your presentation, it means it is 1 second. If I am mentioning a 2000 here, it means it is 2 second. If I am mentioning a 10,000 here, it is going to be 10 seconds. Well, this is how the timings are taken in high level programming or the embedded systems. First of all, when I mention set interval function name and 1000, this function is going to be repeated after 1 second. Means after 1 second this function is going to be repeated, and after 1 second it is going to be repeated. And in the function name we have to mention the function name. We have to create a function and we have to name that here, and after 1 second it is going to execute that. And here we have the set timeout also. In the set timeout we have to use a variable, and variable is equal to set timeout, in which we have to mention the function name and we have to mention the time. Time must be in thousand, or it is always in a millisecond format, and it works like that only. When I am saying set a timeout and I am mentioning the function, it is going to execute that set of function after the 1 second. And this is how we use intervals and set timeouts. Discussing about the date methods, in the date methods we have intervals and we have the timeouts and we have the date, we have the month, we have the year, and we can access a lot of things. Whenever I use intervals, for a specific interval a code is executed. For example, here I am using the set interval, and this is how we use the set interval. And here we have the set interval, and in the set interval I am going to use a bracket, which means a function, and I am using the equal to sign, and here I am going to write some code, and here I mention the millisecond for which it is going to execute. When I say 2000 millisecond, it become 2 second. When I say 2000 millisecond, it becomes 2 second. When I mention 3000 millisecond, it becomes 3 second. And when I mention of 10,000 millisecond, it becomes 10 second. And this is how we use the set interval. And here I am going to use console.log hello world, and it is going to print or console the hello world for every 2 seconds. When I say F5, as you can have a look at here, it is going to show me here hello world, and 2 times and 3 times and 4 times and 5 times, as you can have a look at here. The prefix of the hello world in the debug console, you have the seconds or how many times it is consoling, and this is how we use the set interval. And what is the use of set timeout? When I am using the set timeout, it is executed only one time, and if you want to execute anything for only one time, it is executed. For example, when I am using set timeout and using a 5000 second, and it become a 5 second, means 5000 millisecond become 5 second, and after 5 second it is going to make the execution and it will stop. For example, when I say F5, it is going to show me here. I will stop it and I say F5, and it is going to execute after 5 seconds. As you can count 1 2 3 4 5, as you can have a look at here, it has shown the hello world after the 5 seconds, and it will break the code. And this is how we use the set timeout. Whenever you are mentioning set interval, when you are mentioning the set interval and you are giving some function, and you have given some millisecond, 2000 millisecond, and you have write the console.log and you have written hello. It is actually executing it for almost 2 seconds. After 2 seconds it will execute hello, after 2 seconds it will execute hello, and after 2 seconds it will execute hello. But how to stop it? For that we have clear interval. Yes, we have the clear interval, but to use clear interval you have to declare this set interval. For example, you have to mention a function add, and in the function add I am writing the console.log of hello world. As you can have a look at it, I just use a hello, and you have to declare a variable. I am declaring variable, and you have to mention a random variable, and you have to use set interval. In the set interval you have to use that function add, and you have to mention the amount of time for which it has to repeat. When I just say it has a 1000 millisecond, it become 1 second, and it is going to execute it. I will stop it and I will say F5. When I say F5, this add function is going to be repeated after 1 second. Here, as you can have a look at here, for every second it is getting updated, and hello becoming a lot. And when you are using this, you just stop. And if you want to stop it, when you want to stop it, you have to use just clear interval, and in the clear interval you have to mention the variable through which you have declared the set interval. Here we have t, here I have t, and when I say F5, it is not going to execute anything. It is not executing anything. It means it has cleared the interval. Therefore, this is how we use the clear interval. Now we use intervals and set timeouts. Now discussing about the arrays. Well, what are the arrays? Arrays are as same as objects, but in the object we can specify the name of anything, like we have the employee, we can name him, we can give his ID, and we can give his password, and we can make a lot of things with it. But arrays are not that programmers friendly. We can only store some of the data, whether it might be a string or a floor or anything. We can't mention anything as such like a name or a ID or anything. Therefore, arrays might be a single dimensional or a multi-dimensional, and it is not that important, but you have to remember it. How to create an array? We have two methods, using a square bracket or using a new array object. Well, using a square bracket, we have, first of all, we have to use a variable name, and we have to assign values in a format of a square brackets. In the square brackets we have to mention the values, like here in the presentation I am using a first variable, b second variable, c third variable, and d fourth variable, and we are storing it in array variable. And how to create using the new array? Using the new array, first of all you have to declare a variable, and you have to use new array, and in the new array you have to add the things. How? Using the new variable array, you have to create a new array, and using the array of index you have to add the values. How? Well, indexes in the array start with a 0, and it start with a 0, and it is going to with n number. And here if I am mentioning array of 0 equal to 1, then the first element of the array is going with the a value, and first value is going with a b, second value is going with the c, and we will discuss these all things in VS Code with clarity. And how to access them? To access them, we have to mention that variable name which has a b, 2 has a c, 3 has a d. If I am mentioning array of 2, it is going to give me the value of c, and this is how we create the array. And concatenation of array. Well, we can use the addition operation to combine two arrays. How? First of all, here I have created a variable car1 which has a Volvo and Benz, and variable car2 which has a Tata and Bugatti. When I am using car3 equal to car1 plus car2, car3 is going to store the value of both of them. Means car3 has a value of Volvo, Benz, Tata and Bugatti all together in an ordered manner. And lastly, we have the math object. What are the math object? You have come up with the square roots, and you have come up with the many of the things like a tan, sine and trigonometry function and exponential function. We have a lot of value for them in the programming, and to use them we use the math object in the JavaScript. And if you want to access the square root, you have to use math.sqrt of that number. When you use math.sqrt of that number, it is going to give you the value. Here I am using variable p equal to math.sqrt sqrt of 4, and I'm using console.log of p. When you use like this, square root of 4 is 2, and 2 is saved in p, and p value is shown to you in a format of console.log, which is a 2. And this is how we use math object. And we have a lot of a math object, which includes the logarithmic function, exponential function, trigonometric function. And here is in a presentation, as you can have a look at here. Well, I am not going to discuss these all things. Just look at it and take a screenshot of it. And this is all about the objects in the Java.
I'm going to discuss about the arrays. Arrays are an important thing where you can store a lot of a data which is of a different data type, and these arrays are declared with the one variable. Yes, you can declare with the one variable, and you can store a lot of data in it. For example, here I'm going to create an array. To create array, first of all, you must have a variable, and I'm saying that it is a box which is going to contain a new array, and this is how we create an array. And after we are saying it is a new array, we have to add the number of elements. First of all, the array elements start with a 0, means you have to add anything with a 0. Here we have declared that box is a new array. Now we are going to store the data in the box. To store the data in a box, first of all, you must have a square brackets in which you have to state to the JavaScript compiler that in the 0th position I am going to store some of the value of a string. I'm going to store a car name like a Tesla. I'm going to store here. And next, in the box of 1, I'm going to store well, we have Mercedes. And in the box of 2, I'm going to store, after Tesla, Mercedes, I'm going to store the Tata or Toyota. And this is how we add the materials or add the data into an array. And next, when I say console.log of box, it is going to show me those all data. For example, I'm going to say F5. When I use F5, it is going to show me these all things. As you can have a look at here, it is going to show me Tesla, Mercedes, and Toyota. And this is how we use the arrays, and this is how we create arrays, and this is how we add the data into the array, and this is how we get the output. And if you want to get an output and you want a specific data with the index name, these are called index name. 0, 1, 2, 3, these are termed as index name. To access the data with respect to the index name, you have to say box, and you have to give box of 2. When I say box of 2, it is going to show me that Toyota. As you can have a look at here, it is showing me the Toyota. And this is how we create an array, and we store the data in it, and we will access using only one variable. Here we have the box variable, and we are calling every array using these index numbers, and this is how we create the arrays. And now I am going to discuss the joining of two arrays. Here we have created a first array with the name of a box, and I am going to create a second array, variable box1, and I am going to create here using the second array. And in the second array, I'm going to store some of the things, or I'm directly storing the things like this. You can also create the arrays like this. Here I am saying additional things like we have the Tata, and I'm going to add Suzuki. I'm adding Tata and Suzuki. I'm adding the Tesla, Mercedes, Toyota in box, and in box 1 we have Tata and Suzuki. When I just say box dot concat, it is going to add the box 2. If I mention here, if I say box 2, it is going to save it. And when I just reload the site, box 2 is not defined. Actually, I have used the box 1 here. When I say F5, it is going to combine box 1 and box 2. As you can have a look at here, we have the Tesla in the box 1, Mercedes in the box 2, Toyota in the box 3, and box 1 has a Tata and Suzuki, which is concatenated with the box. And this is how we combine the two arrays, and this is how we combine the array. And this is the second type of array creation, where you don't have to mention new array or anything. You just have to mention uh, two square brackets, and you have to add the data into it. When I say box 1 and box 1 and box 1, and I say console.log of box 1, this is going to console that box 1. As you can have a look at here, it is going to console that. It is consoling Tesla, Mercedes, Toyota. And this is how we create array using the square brackets, and this is how we create using the new array. And this is all about the arrays. Now I'm going to discuss about the math objects. Well, math objects are the inbuilt mathematical operations like the square root and pi and many more data which we actually use in the data processing. For example, here I'm showing that here I'm going to show you how it works. First of all, I'm going to declare a variable t, and in that t I'm going to store the value of pi. We all know that the value of pi is 3.14, but you can actually access the math objects and you can write that. Using the math object, you can write this like this, math.py. When I just write the math.py, and I just write the console.log of when I just write the console.log of that t, it is going to show me the value. As you can have a look at here, when I say console.log of console.log t, it is going to show me the value of pi. As you can have a look at here, it has shown the value of pi, and this is how we use the pi operation. And we have a lot of a math operation which include the cos theta, and we have a sin theta, a tan theta. We will discuss here. We use, first of all, we use power. When I use power and I give the power, I want 2 raised to 4, it is going to show me 2 raised to 4, which is 16. It is going to show me the 16. As you can have a look at here, this is showing me the 16. When I just write here 8 or 7, it is going to show me that thing. And this is very useful when you are doing or working with the canvas. And here it is showing 128, and we have the sign. When I say dot a cos of 30, it is going to show me that value. 9, it is showing 9. And when I say 1 by 2, it is showing the value. And this is how we work with the math operators. There are a lot of math operators. You can go through it in the description, and I will also show it in a presentation. And this is how we use the math operator. And there is also one which is a square root, sqrt, which is a square root. And when I use sqrt of 4, it is going to show me 2. As you can have a look at here, it is going to show me true. And this is how we use the math operators, and this is all about it. Well, do subscribe our channel for regular updates. Thank you.